Welcome everybody to another episode of the IPS podcast. We're here today with Ornella da Costa from Zerocap, talking around a new offering that we're going to bring to the IPS marketplace. If you don't know Zerocap, you've probably been hiding underneath a rock somewhere. These guys have been on the news everywhere in financial services, and we're really excited to be working with them. So Ornella, welcome. How are you?
Very good. Thank you, Nigel. Thanks for making the time to have a chat to us today. Appreciate it.
Mate, as I said before in the intro there, you guys have been everywhere. And, you know, I think it started with the ANZ partnership for the stablecoin. But who is Zerocap? Where did you come from?
Good question. I do have a couple of slides here for some of your audience that may be listening in. But basically Zerocap, if you haven't heard of us before, the firm was established maybe 5 years ago, back in 2017. We started with 3 founders. We're now up to a team of over 75 staff members globally. And basically our role in market, Nigel, is to support wholesale investors and give them opportunities to invest in digital assets. So we're headquartered here in Australia, Melbourne actually. And we've got a team globally that supports our clients. So we sit across various different segments in digital assets, from liquidity provision to custody to asset management as well. And as you said, we've done some pretty cool things with ANZ Bank and the ASX as well more recently that I can share with you at a later stage.
Absolutely. So we were on a podcast just the other day, and Zerocap was part of that. And one of the things that we talked about was people's head just explode when talking about Bitcoin and distributed ledger technology and all of those different things. And then throw on top of that is the ability to bring this together as part of a structured note or a managed investment. What is the focus for Zerocap? How do you look at constructing product, and what's the best way do you feel that you distribute that within the market?
Great question. I think, coming back to your question, Nigel, around what is the focus, I think from what we're observing in the market at the moment, clients are looking for different ways to get better returns on their investment portfolio, and alternatives and crypto are just one way of I guess getting those improved returns for clients. And so they're looking to educate themselves. Either they are at the front foot of learning all about it, or they're getting questions or hearing about it from their children, their friendship circles, whoever they work with in the corporate setting. It's coming from all sorts of areas, and people are forced to learn about it. So we basically, our role in market is to be at the forefront of educating individuals around the opportunities here, what it is. It's naturally here to stay, given all the activity we're seeing from the institution. So education first and foremost is our role in market. And then naturally, when clients have a view or they're ready to invest, or they've already got a portfolio and they're looking to manage it, we get involved and support that them through that journey.
So the education piece, because it is a emerging technology, it is an emerging conversation for a lot of people. And like with all of these things, there's the people at the front guard that have lived and breathed this, made money, lost money, sit equal on it. How much of the education piece is talking about the crypto and the underlying technology and talking around the mechanics behind it, or is it just more around the investment side of crypto?
Look, I think it's still a mix, Nigel. I think there's a certain segment of the market that are still looking to learn about what this is, even though it's definitely been around for a number of years now. And then there's other people that are totally across it, and they're basically just coming to us going, how can I manage my portfolio more effectively? So we sit across the spectrum in terms of our clients' understandings of this market and the opportunity there, and help them regardless of, I guess, what where exactly they sit. So some of our clients have started right at the start where they're like, what is this space? Where do I start? And we help them through that and that learning phase. Others, they're already across it. So we just go straight into investments and how we can help them.
Being devil's advocate here, there is a little bit of distrust still around crypto assets as an asset class. What makes Zerocap different? What makes you a preferable counterparty to someone else on the street, I guess?
Great question. And, personally for me, that's it actually links back to one of the reasons I chose to work for Zerocap as well. I personally, my background is traditional banking. So I've come from that traditional wealth management space and, personally probably had a bit of hesitancy myself. I personally see Zerocap as the leaders, not just in the Australian marketplace, but we certainly differentiate ourselves globally as well. So, one of the things that I guess people don't know about us or may not know about us is, for example, we have something called the Lloyd's of London insurance to protect our clients. We've got institutional grade custody for them to hold their assets. If they're holding a significant amount, they've got that peace of mind. And then I think the other piece that on how we differentiate ourselves is also the types of solutions that we have in market, Nigel. So, when people think about cryptocurrency, it's, probably day trading and when's the right time to buy and sell. And given it's a very volatile market, that requires a lot of skill, time and energy. Whereas we take that out of the equation for our clients. We've got a significantly experienced team of traders, and, we work with clients on getting them into the market or helping manage their portfolios through sophisticated means such as fund management, structured products, etc., which we can talk through. I'm sure we'll touch on later in this podcast as well.
Absolutely. Good segue there, actually. So we here at Integrated Portfolio Solutions work with financial advisors across the full spectrum. So we've got advisors that have a strong concentration in their book towards domestic equities, moving across to family offices that have, alternative assets and, bespoke type of assets. And across all of those clients, what we have is a different risk appetite or a different asset allocation model. Where do you see crypto and the Zerocap, product suite sitting as part of a diversified portfolio?
Good question. I do have, I guess, something visual there to share, but just before I go to that, I also wanted to introduce to whoever's dialed in a bit of background as to our founders. So we've got Ryan, John, our CIO, and Trent Barnes, our Chief Innovation Officer. And then we've also got a significant leadership team from traditional finance backgrounds, and then Peter Edwards, the CEO of the Victus Morgan Group, and Glenn Poswell, who managed Elliston Capital back in the day. But coming to your question, Nigel, around, where does digital assets sit in a portfolio? For us, we've got clients with different views and different risk appetites, as you said. For us, what we're seeing at the moment is, most clients are just using this as an opportunity to learn. And as a result, crypto or digital assets make up perhaps 1% to maybe 5% of their portfolio at this stage. And based on their risk profile, we've got investment solutions that I guess totally help them minimize risk if that's what they're looking for, while still giving them exposure to Bitcoin or whatever they're looking for. And then on the other side, we've got clients where they're happy to take on a bit more risk while still keeping in that 1% to 5% of their portfolio allocation. And so we help them perhaps harness the volatility that's in the market and make the most out of investment opportunities that are available there. So that sits more so under, we've got 3 arms here, Nigel. So investments, prime services, and obviously our innovation arm. But, you know, under our investment arm, we've got those different capabilities to help clients get exposure to this market, regardless of if they're, you know, a defensive type investor, where they want to mitigate risk, all the way to high risk.
So you guys have been in the forefront of the market for quite some time now, and you've brought some really differentiated product to the market. What's next for Zerocap? What's the new exciting thing?
The next new exciting thing, Nigel, is you know, something in line with a lot of the feedback that we've been hearing from our family offices and our clients. So, you know, they all want to get into this space, but no one really wants to work with the volatility. They don't want the effects of the drawdown in their portfolios. So what our trading team have developed, Nigel, is a smart beta Bitcoin fund. And basically, you know, it's nothing new there, but it's been used in investment banking for over 20 years. But basically what it is a portfolio mix of true Bitcoin exposure, so spot Bitcoin, and some US dollar exposure, so USDC is what we call it, the stable coin equivalent. There's no derivatives or any other instruments used there. It's just pure Bitcoin and USDC. And what it aims to do is mitigate or I guess, reduce the volatility that's available if you were to invest in Bitcoin directly. And, you know, as you can see on this slide, and I'm sure as our investors know, you know, Bitcoin itself can be quite volatile. And if you are not ready to invest in something like that, that is in that risk profile, the smart beta can equally give you that similar exposure
with targeted reduced volatility.
So that has been quite a popular solution for our clients, and certainly meets their needs as well. We've also tracked how it's performed. So I have the latest September 2022 results here for you, Nigel. But basically, you know, how it's performed, you've got the smart beta up there actually by 4.21%, whereas, you know, all other main markets have been down for the quarter, including Bitcoin, US bonds, S&P, and the NASDAQ as well. So, you know, I think this is the interesting piece for investors, where common perception would be that Bitcoin can be quite volatile, but if you do it the right way, it can lead to, you know, a pretty good outcome for investors.
Ornella, thank you so much for your time today. Again, IPS is super pumped to be working with Zerocap on bringing this to the market. For all our IPS listeners, you know, we'll be in contact with you soon as we bring this to market. But Ornella, thank you so much. We'll catch you next time.
Thanks for having me, Nigel.